Let's try that again. The issue is the long guy hit the cable for charging the phone. I should have charged it earlier. So live and learn. Right, I can get, this is 9 inches across in the horizontal, so I can actually get, if I cut this into 3, that will be enough to make that ring. So what do I want to talk to you folks about today? Do we want to talk about persistence? Well, you either persist with something that you want to do or you don't. If you don't persist with it, then is it truly, you're going to hate me for this, but is it truly something that you really want to do? Because of my autism, I don't find it easy to make these recordings. I struggle with perfectionism and being overwhelmed. What do I mean by perfectionism? Well, I know that my setup is very amateur. I don't currently have funds to improve that, but actually perfectionism is a trap, because you're not here for perfect videos. If you're watching this, you are here to sit with me as I work on this model. And as much as I recognise that things could be made better with better setup, with cameras and lights and a computer to do editing, I don't really care about that stuff. I want to be here with you, just hanging out. And that doesn't require expensive gear. If I made myself wait until I had the recommended gear, and that's a different issue completely, because what is the best stuff, I wouldn't make these videos. And in tough times, when you're feeling alone, you wouldn't have someone who is willing to spend their time hanging out with you and just chilling, hanging out. That's all we're doing. So, for me, what's been going on for me? Well, I've experienced something called overwhelm. Something that in the autistic circles, we call it overwhelm. Right, so I've done the struts. I'm working out from my piece of paper. I've done the middle, that middle tube, and then there's another set of stats, and this isn't the complete piece of paper, but I can work it out from here. I need let me think. That's my math. No, we can work it out. Right, I need to create enough for another I want to make another ring, another set of struts that will come off of the piece we've just got. And what it does is it's cut in such a way that the hull of the model will slope down. You'll see that when that happens. It's pretty neat. Now, I don't see where my original piece of paper is. It's probably gone on the floor somewhere because that happens. Right, so let's work it out. My original disc is 4 inches. Then we've got the tube that's around that, 4 inches tall. Then I've got inner struts that are 3 inches long. So the whole thing is 4 feet. Let's do it where I think you can see. 4 feet is 48 inches. 48. So the inner disc, 4 inches disc, negligible tube because it's like a 1/16 of an inch. Then we've got struts. Strut is how long? That's 4 inches tall. 4 inch strut tube. So what does that give me? I've got and then I said I wanted, and the other one 71 pieces of L shapes of cardboard to help glue everything together when I do it. Right, so that we've done 4. So on one side, from the center to the outside of the disc, of the hull of the model. Let's try and so that's 2 inches from the edge, the center to the edge, 2 inches. Right, so I have 24 inches to play with. One from center. I know you probably can't read this because of the handwriting. Center to edge, 24. So we've got 24 minus 2 minus 4. That gives us 18. Now, that doesn't seem very much, does it? But because then I'm 24 inches, 2 inches from the center of the disc to the edge, and 4 inches out for a strut in the disc, and then 12 inches seems to be a lot. Let's bring the big guy in. That's right. So 2 feet is that distance. That's huge. It's too big. 4 feet. Because the final thing is going to be that big. Wow. No, we're not doing that. So let's let's not think about 4 foot. Let's think about 3 foot, which is this. It's still big, but it's manageable, although that's still a little big. If we came down to, well, that's 2 feet and 2.5 feet. 2.5 feet is 1.25 foot. 1 foot and a quarter there. That's one side. Now, yeah, 2.5 feet is plenty big. It is. So, thank you, big guy. You're very useful as always. Let's 2.5 feet. Piece of paper here. So, 2.5 feet is 30 inches. So, from center to edge equals 2.5 is 30 is 15 inches. A little bit unwieldy, but that's fine. That doesn't really matter too much. So, disc, strut, strut, 2 inches, 4 inches, so, and then that gives me 9 inches for the other piece. 9 inches. And this wants to be this. Okay, so that's 9 inches long. How wide? Well, the thing they're attaching to is 3 inches. So I'm going to need to cut some more cardboard for the next piece. How many do I want? I made 28 of the inner struts, so that's 14 per hull. 14, and there are more of these, or are there? No. 14 is a weird number. Let's go for 12. No, kid, no. Go for 16, just because. Better to have more than less. 16. So 32. 9 long. And there, right. So this I'm going to put aside, and that's going to be the edge of, because they're already cut. Yep, those two are fine. We'll put those, let's just go outer edge. These pieces will be, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, these pieces will be the final disc that is on the edge of the model on the outside, and that is a very exciting point to get to. Once the hull, once the two hulls are, the struts and the rings, the tubes, not a ring is it, it's a tube, are glued, we begin to have something that takes a shape, which is very exciting. Okay, so we wanted it to be 3 inches. We may as well stick with 3 inches, because why not? It seems to work well on this piece of cardboard. And I'm going to let's mark out both. And then I can and how many is that going to give me is the $64,000 question. I don't know where that comes from. Let me know in the comments if you do know. Yeah, let me know where in the world you're listening to this as well. It's always fun. So I wanted them to be 9 inches long. Well, you've got this here. Why don't I just use this? 9 inches long. And so I'm going to get 6 out of this, and I wanted 36 of these. Is 3 too much? If I did 2.5, it's 5 and 7, and it doesn't really help, does it? Okay. And then what I will do is the pieces at the end, when I've cut them, because they won't all fit, those are 3 inches anyway. Yeah, so I just, you know what, I'm going to change my mind. That's the middle tube. Yep. These are 2.5 inches, right? Yeah. So whatever I use, I don't use here. Wherever I can't use because it's too short, I can keep for the outer edge, the outer circle, the outer tube. So this week it's been I'm on the autistic spectrum. What does that mean? It means that my brain is wired. It actually means my brain is wired differently to other people. I suspect that is partly why I've been able to stick to my healthy eating plan of the keto diet. I'm now on, if Wednesday was 4 weeks, what are we on now? Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is day 32 of, see, the perfectionist. I have had a very minimal amount of chocolate, and because I've had that in my head, it taints the entire practice, but that's not true. I have been on this thing, being careful to keep away from carbs as much as I can. To keep away from carbs as much as I can, and keep away from really anything other than water. I'm just drinking a lot of iced water. I believe I'm not going to say that. Yeah. And I haven't missed those other things. The chocolate, the chips, the crisps. I just don't miss them. And I don't really miss tea and coffee. Because I've decided that I'm going to do this thing and get to the point where I am the healthiest I can be. And one of the things being on the spectrum allows a person to do is once they make their mind on something, it's very hard to unmake it. So it's just how it is. The other thing I've noticed, which is interesting, is I'm at an age now, 53, where time passes faster. Well, that's happening whether I'm on this new eating plan or not. And because I'm excuse me, just letting time is just going by. I'm working out, I'm doing the exercising. I'll talk about that in a minute. It means that I've got this time time is passing, and it's passing as I am doing this new eating thing. It's working in my favour. Oh, sorry, I knocked my knife over. Careful not to drop the camera. Time passes anyway quicker when you're older, and there are reasons for that. There are very real reasons for that. And it means that the time is passing in a positive way because I'm eating better, which is really cool. But this change of lifestyle, which is what it is, middle strap. This change of lifestyle is partly because I want to allow myself to feel the feelings that I have, and that means not having the crutch of eating chocolate and cakes and chips and crisps and potatoes and all that stuff to bury the feelings that I didn't want, the ugly feelings that I thought were ugly. And so what I'm having to do now is go through, when I feel that way, go through it. And I'm sure that people are going to say to me, well, that's healthy. It is healthy. It's also painful. And challenging, because I'm just cutting these down to 9, and then I'm cutting the other one down to add to the outer edge. It's challenging because so a lot of the emotional stuff that was going on, like the depression, has gone. It's just evaporated. So was the generalized anxiety. I don't feel that stuff anymore. What I do still have is the autistic side of me that gets overwhelmed around bright lights, around noises, around people. And where before I would use food predominantly, really, and video games, but mostly food, to to help me deal with those feelings, I don't have food anymore. So I'm sitting in my in my basement, which is why it's gloomy in here, because the bright light overwhelms me, and that's just no good for my peace of mind. So recently I've been feeling overwhelmed, but you still have to, even though you have that going on, you still have to deal with people. Just because I'm feeling overwhelmed doesn't stop people needing food. And I know people are going to argue and say that that's not my responsibility, but I consider that it is. And because of that, there are going to be times and there have been times, and I'm not predicting, let's actually say what's happened. There have been times recently where I've been overwhelmed, and it's taken me a few days to become become unoverwhelmed. And I haven't known how to cope with it, because quite frankly, I've not experienced controlling that stuff. Yeah. I mean, I am apologetic to the people around me that are also suffering, because when I get overwhelmed and I have to deal with being within the situation that overwhelms me and still continuing within that situation, I get irritable, I get angry. I basically go into the fight or flight mode, and I can't go into the flight because I'm needed to do what I'm doing, so I go into fight. And I don't fight, don't think that, but I do get irritable, I get mad, I get resentful, I get angry, and the people around me take the brunt of that. I don't like it, I hate it actually, because they shouldn't have to. But it is what it is, you know. I think they understand. I don't think they quite know what to do with me at the moment, because I'm not the Lee that was spending $30 a week on just junk food, and that was without getting junk meals, takeouts and takeaways and all that. I do know what I'm saving the family money, because I'm cooking every day, and we're not having to spend that extra money. This is a larger piece. Let's work out how to make this work without destroying the camera. So there we go, that's the beginning. This is 25, so I'm going to get 18, well, yeah, going to get 18 out of it. Actually, let's come from the other edge, because this edge is more if I come from that edge, that's 6 inches. That's 6 inches, about there. Yeah, that's right. So we go from there is 30. Let's 18 there and there. And 18 there and there. So if I cut, let's draw some lines. Let's draw some lines. Having a pen top in my mouth isn't helpful to the video. That's not very smart. That's straight, is it? We've veered off some there. That's a bit better. Yeah. So I don't need to worry too much about how perfect these edges are cut. Because you're never going to see them. Even the ones that you see will be covered in things to distract your eyes, which is something I will explain later on in the model. Alright, so that top piece is 18 long, so it'll give me 2 of the 36 that I wanted. I do have more cardboard, I do. Right, let's turn this piece into something that is useful. This is why am I doing it? Measuring long distances with a short ruler. How does that help me? This is 18 now. Okay. So let's, if that's 18, let's put that to there, and let's trim it up so it is exactly 18. Some of these cuts are good with the knife. Some are good with scissors. I suspect it's something to do with precision of the individual cuts. So yeah. But scissors are not very good at cutting the long, making these long cuts. I've somewhere in the house got some scissors that are very good for that, but I don't know where they are. It is what it is. Right, I do know where they are. The individual was using them, so fair enough. Right, we've got here 3 and hang on, 6. So 3 and 6. 3 and 6. So that is going to give me 4. Four. 4 of these struts. So let's measure it up to 9, and then I can just keep cutting the. So that's there and there. And I can just cut that out. That will give me 4. Let's write down how many we've got. We've got 6 outer struts. So far. And I know what's going to happen is it's all going to go badly because he's an abuser and all your drama will be all over the server. And I love you too much as my friend to want to see that. No. Not big enough. Just if there's any pieces lying around I could use for the other cuts. Yeah. So I'm just having to allow myself to go through overwhelm and having to accept the fact that it is part of who I am, because the other mental health things have gone. Now I'm left with being overwhelmed and all that encounters, all that entails. MS is outer strut. I prefer that. I prefer outer strut. I'm going to change what it says. OS. Let's cross out the MS because it's possible that would confuse. OS, This isn't the most exciting part, folks. I do apologise, but it's something I need to do. I'm marking these on both sides, so when I come to actually using them, it's obvious whichever way I pick it up. And that will give me 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, 26 to go. Yeah, overwhelm. Sip of water. Being overwhelmed for me is like, in a movie you have a thing called a jump scare, and that's the part where the monster comes out of whatever hole he was in and attacks the people, or that's when there's some reveal of something frightening and scream. Overwhelm for me is like lots and lots of jump scares, one after the other, continually, until I get away from the thing that is causing till I got a thing that is causing the issue. So if it's loud noises, I need to get away from those, or if it's people. So the loud noises one, let's talk about the individual overwhelms, because I feel like it would benefit people more if I actually talked about my exact experience. So I get these overwhelms. Bright lights. Well, if I'm in bright sunlight is good enough to qualified enough for it to work, and it's not a choice. This is something I just have. I walk out in bright sunlight and I'm immediately squinting and blinded. And the sunlight doesn't actually have to be that bright. Where some people, neurotypical people, see, that's what they call people that don't have autism, neurotypical people, which is most of the population, don't have the same sensitivity to bright sunlight. But when I'm out in bright sunlight, it is like someone is waving something in my face, and I have to deal with that. I can't just... Sometimes you don't get the choice of getting out of the sunlight. Why don't you wear sunglasses? Well, I've tried them. I've tried sunglasses. What happens for me is that the light on the edge of the cut that unsightly bit off, just because it'll give me issues when I'm trying to trying to glue it. Yeah, so someone is coming up to me from beyond my vision and flicking something up my eye. And that is happening when I'm out in bright sunlight over and over and over again. I've never gotten used to it, and I know people try to get me to get used to it, and to be honest, at this point, if I've tried so often, that if someone really tries to push me to get used to it, I tell them to fuck off, because they're not listening to what I'm saying when I'm telling them that I don't get used to it. There is no getting used to it. It's how my mind is wired. So what I do is I get, eventually that jump scare thing turns into a fight or flight response. my system, my brain, my nerve endings, I suspect, get so overwhelmed that I just want to get out of there. And it's not always in my conscious control. Sometimes my brain will just say, that's it, we're done. I can't handle this anymore, and I will go into a fight or flight response. And often when I can't escape the situation, it becomes fight. Now, fight does not mean fisticuffs. Fight response for me is physical sensations. My eyesight gets better. My eyesight gets better. My fingers get cold. I go through the whole fight or flight response. My pulse increases. I'm releasing adrenaline. And then, and I'm in that state, and someone will come up to me and they'll ask me a simple question: would you like a cup of tea? When inside, I am fighting my physical response to the stimulus to not get angry at the situation and the person who is making the very kind offer. I don't want to be like this. God knows I don't want to be like this. But it is who I am. It's not going to go away. Thankfully, I seem able to surround myself with people that are also autistic, which helps because they understand when I say I'm overwhelmed that I need to disappear away for a moment, for however long, and allow myself to calm down. Well, so it isn't an instant calm down. I don't get that. It can take me a few days because I don't get to switch people off. What I have to do usually is manage my condition, my physical response to the stimulus, and how other people are also handling me having this response, because people don't understand. They don't always want to appreciate, to understand. There's nothing wrong with you, you're perfectly fine. All of this. Yes, I am, but I'm still autistic. I find that I find that I am so I have to deal with, I forgot my place now, I have to deal with how other people respond and get them to calm down before I can take time out and calm down myself. So where else do I experience this? Well, I experience this with noise. A noise around me that isn't necessarily loud, like a car going by, can produce a jump scare. And because of the nature of jump scares, I'm now pumped with adrenaline with no way to release it. And I probably go through this jump scare process for sound, for light, for people around me making sudden movements. I don't know, 200-300 times a day. Yeah, so I used to have someone who I thought was a friend and turned out to just consider me a work in progress. You know who you are. And they would tell me that I should insulate myself and not isolate. Insulate by spending time with other people and not spending my time on my own. Well, the problem with that is that it doesn't help getting more cardboard. A, I'm not around, I'm not in a place where there are a lot of people. And B, being around people is what is causing the issue. So we've got what we made 22, so I need 14 more. How big are these pieces? Yeah, like I say, when half my mental health journey has been dealing with other people who don't want to understand or think they have an answer and want me to buy into whatever their answer is. And then I just go home and everything will be fine, and it's not fine. It's just not. Right, so that's, anyway, talking about this is distressing, but I want you folks to be on my journey of making this model and be on my journey of dealing with these mental health situations. And if I to not explain this stuff to you, to me, doesn't make any sense. What have I got to hide that I wouldn't tell you? Anyway, so yeah, I mean, even people that are close to me, or supposed to be close to me, don't believe there's anything wrong, and that I'm just making it up. Makes holding down a job difficult because I need enough time to no, that's that way, that's that, and that's on here, and I cut this off. Right, okay, that's better. Just getting myself, turning myself around. Right, so those are going to be the pieces, and then this piece, this edge will be another one. I don't know if we'll quite get 36, but I think we'll pretty much actually work with what we do end up with, because I'm going to be close to 30, I reckon, and that's enough. There's so many pieces of cardboard in different directions reinforcing the structure that I don't need to worry too much about how many of the struts there are. So my last job, it was kind of my fault. I didn't realise they would pull the stunt until they did. They had me 5 days in a row, which was, as far as they were concerned, was split up between 2 weeks. But it was 5 shifts in a row. Like a day shift, it's not only 8 hours every day, and I just couldn't cope with that. I needed time out. I needed time to myself. Interestingly enough, I've discovered that I can cope with doing a night shift. I get a lot done, and there's not anywhere near the same number of people. Worked in a gas station, did night shifts, and it was great for that reason. I got a lot done. I was left to my own devices. With these bends, I'm probably going to glue something across there to reinforce that section. Now, the 9 isn't enough, so how many am I going to get? Well, you know what? There's 3 there. I might get 4 out of that. Interesting. So these have got to be, no, I'm not going to get 4, am I? I'm going to get 2. Yeah, it's what it is, you know. It was a nice idea, having the job, working the retail. The truth is, I was overwhelmed and I was unable to handle dealing with people who didn't understand me. Unfortunately, one of the problems was I was put with working with someone who has their own mental health issues, and of course we clashed. And yeah, so one of the issues I have is one of the social cues that neurotypical people have is that they understand the nuances of instructions. Now I do understand them, but when that nuance is a part of my job, it's a very different way of dealing with the problem, because suddenly I'm how I respond to something is important, because I have a job, I have a responsibility, and trying to explain to people that no, you need to give me clear orders, and then having the manager of the store giving me instructions, and because he wasn't there, his under manager giving me an instruction that's different. I didn't know which person to listen to, and if the manager came in and said to me, did you do how I asked you to do it, I would say no. They would say, why not? And I would tell them this. And that was very stressful, because obviously the manager wants things done a certain way, and to be told by his staff that no, I haven't done what you said because I was told to do it differently. Well, I'm the manager, they're the under manager, you need to listen to me. And I agree. And I didn't know how to handle that. So in the end I quit. Because I didn't know how to handle it. Job itself wasn't actually that difficult. It wasn't really difficult at all. Let's be honest. It was just packing and stacking shelves in a frozen section. And yeah. Alright, so we are going to get out of this one 6, out of the other one I just did now 6. That's going to give me 34. That's 17 each. That's plenty. Oh yeah, that's plenty. But I understand that my mental health is a situation that I just live with. You just have to. You can't do anything else. I could do other things. I could take drugs. I could drink. I could eat myself into an early grave through chocolate and candy and all that crap. But I don't want to do that. I want to live as healthy a life as I possibly can and do all the things that I would really like to do. That I haven't done in my life already. And I'm 53, I'm fairly young still. But I'm heavily overweight, which is damage I can undo with the right eating and exercising. Yeah. So partly the reason why I'm doing this YouTube channel is, well, eventually I would hope that I would get enough subscribers that I could live comfortably off revenue from this. And there are many reasons why that's possibly an issue, but I remain positive. That one's a bit thinner than the others, but whatever. I remain positive. And eventually, I would hope what I do will be picked up by someone interested, and I can make money sufficiently to live off of doing this with you all. So this is 34. That's great, because this then is the majority of the hull. Now I am in a moment going to cut a few extra pieces for the outer disc, and then that will give me most of what I need. So now the outer strut pieces are let's just cut this section off because it's going to just be too too unwieldy to try and glue to other pieces. Right, so let's go 2.5 to do another one of that. Do I get 5? Can I get 5? I can get 5, kind of. 2.5 there. Two and a half there. So that piece will work. What have I got here? Is that 5? No. That's 2.5. Is that 5? Yeah. So which one? So it's working out which one will give me the smallest piece of extra. So that's 5. I think I prefer it to be this way. Oh. And then well, 5.5 by length, and that's 4. That's only going to give me 2. Right, so hang on. If that's 4, then that entire thing is going to give me one piece that's 6 inches long. I don't really know why I'm confused about this, but whatever. One piece that's 6 inches long, or I can do 2 pieces that are 4 inches long, so that's better. All right. Yeah. Right, that's 5. So that's there, and that's there. Let's do that. And you got those 2. Right. Yeah. I hope everyone is having a decent day. I hope you have a decent day. If there's anything you want to talk about, please do make a comment, and I can address it. Yeah. Again, the whole purpose of my channel is to provide people that are wanting to have someone to hang out with, at least a presence. In me making my models and reading my books. Right, so this is outer edge, outer edge, outer edge, outer edge. One thing you'll see is the ribs on the cardboard are going that way. That's actually not useful for this particular job, but I will manage. It just makes a bit more curving and cutting. Outer edge, and cut this bad boy out. And then I think I'm done for a while. Interestingly. Yeah. I know people online, when they make videos, they speed them up. I don't want to do that. I think part of me being here is talking and just being with you people. And if I speed it up, that's not what we want, is it?